My name is Michael and welcome to the third tutorial of our GTK signals. In this tutorial we are going to learn about a new signal type, and of course a new kind of signature which you better provide it in the right signature before you are expecting that your application works. So this, we'd go to GTK widget again, and because the GTK window is a subclass of GTK widget in some way, it is, which means that we can work with its signals. We learned about the destroy, and we saw that the destroy signal expects a function which is called user function and returns void. In this case today we are going to talk about the delete event. The delete event signal, it is a function this time which has three parameters instead of two like we had in the destroy, and this happens because this one, it is an event signal, which means not that just something happens, we can also check what exactly was happening. So in other words, this function as well, it doesn't return a void, it returns a Boolean. So we need to provide a Boolean function as well, and says the delete event signal is emitted if a user requests that a top level is closed. So this is basically better than the other one where we are just destroying. Here it is about a request, and request in this case means if you decide to inform your user, for example, are you sure you wanna quit? If yes, press 1, if no, press 2, something like that. Okay, so the delete event signal is emitted if a user requests that the top level window is closed. The default handler for this signal destroys the window. Okay, this is very important, but connecting the GTK hide widget hide on delete to this signal will cause the window to be hidden instead, so that it can be later be shown again without reconstructing. This is another story. In other words, we have three parameters. The first is the widget, which is the object which receives the signal. The event, which is the event which triggered this signal. Okay, how exactly happened this signal? Did you press the button? Did you somehow through your application emit this signal, or you forced the window manager to do some things for you, and so on. And the user data, which means when you are passing something which is very important for you at some point. Okay, so that being said, I'm going to call this function again, which is the GTSignal connect. I'm going to call it again. The first one is the instance, in this case it is the window. The second one, it will be the signal, which is the delete event signal, very important. The next one, it will be the G callback, and the callback we are going to create a delete, or I'm going to say del event callback, and the next one will be the parameter. We are still going to work with null at this point. We are going to learn later what and how you should work with this one. So at this point what we have, we just monitoring the delete event. Once that this one is happening, which means someone needs to click the X right here to close the application, you can handle it in a different manner. Okay, so that being said, you are monitoring the delete event on your window. If that happens, then the delete event callback will be called and no parameter will be passed. I'm going to copy this one, and the signature, which is very important, it is always provided a signature for your signal. It is a Boolean one, so let us create it. So I'm going to say G Boolean delete event callback, and we need to create three different ones. So the GTK widget, it is the first one, which is the widget. The second one will be a GTK event, which we needed. I'm going to create another playlist just for this structure because event structure is very big and this is very important for you to understand it. And the last one will be the G-pointer data. Now let me declare it static as well, because if I'm not do it, then I need to define and declare it like I'm doing right now, right here. there is another thing which is very important, is that if you do it like this, then you have a function which does nothing. And I'm going to show you something, even if you should know. I'm say widget, and then next void event. I'm just going to silence the compiler for a second. Void data, yes. Okay, so that I can compile it and run it. So I'm going to compile and run this program right now. Now I need to return something here, so return false. Now I'm going to compile it and run it, just because I want to show you something. Now if I hit the button right here, X, it says goodbye and close. Now watch what happens if we don't call this function on with the destroy signal. Then you see the destroy call defined but not used. That's the main difference about working with static in front of the void in your GTK files. If you work with some function like this one, you will notice that you have a window, you have a function which you created but you never use it. So this is a very good thing for you to work in this case almost always like this, because if you are not going to do it like this but like this, at this point my compiler flags doesn't let me to compile it because it says no provide prototype from the destroy callback. And of course if you provide it a prototype like I do right now, you can compile it and run it, and you will never know that you have a function which never get called and never get used. So that's the reason why you should always if you know what to do, work with static instead of declare a function and then working with it anyway. Okay, that being said, now we know what happens. What's the story with the false and true? Well, true to stop the other handler from being invoked, for the delete of false to propagate the event filter. What this means, let's see. We were returning false. Okay, I'm going to say gprint what should I say, have a nice day. Okay, just like this. Now let's see, watch, I'm going to compile it and run it. Okay, of course we don't have we define but not use, which is good because we need to work with this one back. So I'm going to compile it and run it. Now watch, when I'm going to hit X, what happens? You see, it says have a nice day and then says goodbye. Now if we are swapping this one with this one, then probably, let's see first what happens. I'm going to compile, I'm going to hit X, and as you can see it says again the same thing, have a nice day and that goodbye. So we are monitoring this one and then this one, and you saw that the first function which is called, it is this one, and the last one, it is the goodbye one. And even if we were swapping like we did here, no matter what you are doing, the first function which gets called, it is always the delete event callback and not the destroy callback. Why is that? Now let me go back a little bit to the delete callback, delete event signal, and you see it says here flag, it's running last. You see all the times running last. So this is the thing which the basically it says about flags, if it's running after, is running first, or is running last. You understand that later what exactly means, because I'm going to show you something right now. What happens if you change this behavior? What happens if you return true? For example, if you say to your user that he needs to press a button. If he presses the button, then he can close the window or something like that. And if he don't, then he cannot do it. So basically you say if it's true, then you return false, because you need to destroy the window, you need to let the signal to terminate, or you said return true, which means the user doesn't want to close the window, he hit the X by mistake. And in this case, watch what happens now if I'm going to click the X right here. As you can see, it says have a nice day. The function it is called, you see, the function it is called, but the window doesn't get closed. You see, the window doesn't get closed, and of course the destroy callback function, it gets never called. You see? So this means that it's running as last, so running less, like the documentation says right here, flags run last, because this is basically what happens right now. You see, you are trying to closing a window from X button, but you decide that your function should return true, which means you never let your user to close for this one. For example, you can say, instead of this, you can say to your user, please click the quit button, for example. You see? So in this case, if you compile it and run it, at this point, if you have a button and the user insists that he clicks here, he will never close it because you need to close the button. So basically this is what happens if you return true. But if you return false, then the message will be printed and the window will get closed. And the second callback, which is from the other signal, the destroy signal, will be called as well. You see, please click the button, goodbye, and the window got closed. That being said, thank you guys for watching. If you like it, please subscribe, share with your friends and neighbors, and until next time, see you guys.